Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Liftings and SC Travel, joined by all the regulars. Cole, welcome to the show.
Good evening, good to see everybody. I'll play nicely. Thank you for the introduction.
Hakan, welcome to the show, mate.
Good evening, guys.
Darren, welcome, mate, all the way from the West Midlands.
Good evening and glad to be back on again.
What was that?
and the man of the moment, Daz Medcalf. How are you, pal?
I won't say man at the moment, but yeah, I'm all right, mate.
So obviously, it's been an absolute roller coaster over 24 hours for you, pal. I think the best thing to do is let you take the mic and run with telling us exactly what's happened in this roller coaster of a story. Obviously involving in your fight, Nicola Hopewell, and you was offered an opportunity, let's say, to fight for world titles. But you take the story away, mate. Tell us how it all panned out.
Well, basically, I was at home last night before I started work. Gets phone calls off Rob, Riley, and Nick had been offered a world title fight. I'm like, right, where? And he went, Denmark. I went, Denmark? When? Saturday. So I says, right, who against? He went, Dina Torsland for the WBC, WBO, and Ring Magazine belts. I was like a bit, right. First and foremost, my coaching head came on, and it said, well, Dina Torsland's a strong bantamweight. You know, Nick's a decent sized flyweight.
Yep.
You know, so after a bit of a discussion with Nick, Nick was like, well, let's do it. You know, no flyweights want to fight me, so let's go in there and whip a bantamweight for free titles. So obviously we chatted, and you know, I'll be totally honest, it was deemed it's a no lose situation, really. And you know, I've watched a bit of Dina Torsland. While very strong, she's not the most skillful. But obviously she presents challenges in other ways, being very strong.
Yeah.
Seems like she's got a bit of a dig on her. But like I said, very limited. So I could see a way Nick could have won. So we took it. WBC approved it, I believe. WBO approved it. It was approved for the Ring Magazine belt. All flights booked, everything. And then at 11 o'clock today, I believe it was called off due to some red tape to do with the British Boxing Board. I believe it was, well, this is what I was told, to do with not having a check weigh-in or something, not being able to have a check weigh-in. You know, listen, they've got to have the fighters' well-being at heart, right, and the safety at heart. But let's be honest, Nick wasn't cutting weight; she was going up weight. She was also these instances where, I mean, let's take Lucy Wilder fighting Michaela Meyer at 24 hours notice. Did she have to have a check weigh-in? Do you know what I mean?
Clearly not.
No. And thing is, mate, what a massive opportunity this would have been. And do you know what, mate? Win, lose or draw, nobody from this town where we're from, Worksop, has ever boxed for a world title, let alone the WBC, like a unified world title. Do you know what I mean? And probably in our lifetime, mate, and lifetimes after, no one ever will.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. what it does, if nothing else, is it puts Nick in the shop window worldwide.
Mate, we are a doubt. Listen, with it at drop of an at me, she said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that a little bit closer. So she gets a call 3 days before the fight. Obviously, Dina Torsland's opponent pulled out. They then search for an opponent. Nicola gets a call. She fights 2 weights below bantamweight. Let's remember. Now Nick's always fit, so she's ready to fight anybody at any time. But even so, with 3 days' notice, going up 2 weights, I don't care who you are. That takes a lot of balls. That's number one. Number two is the prestige it would have brought to Nick. Win, like you say, win, lose or draw. The prestige it would have brought to Nick and the eyes it would have got on her with the governing bodies as much as anything else.
Yeah.
To then get it pulled under you by the British Boxing Board, who were meant to be looking after her career, they're not thinking about her career at all here. I don't understand what they are thinking about, because like you've just stated, it's not like she's cutting weight. The whole point of a check weight is to make sure that fighters don't start off on a Wednesday at check weight day and then have only Thursday and Friday to lose a certain amount of weight. There's a check weight limit. I don't know how many pounds it is. It probably depends on the weight category, but there's a certain limit per weight category of how much you can be before on the check weight on the Wednesday. If you're above that, the fight generally gets cancelled, or an agreement is made that the fight then doesn't get made for the actual weight it should have been made at. Now, this wasn't even the case this time, as you've already stated again. Nicola fights Fly, so she's coming up weight. She just doesn't even have to do a check weight. It's absolute nonsense. And the British Boxing Board of Control and Robert Smith need to be ashamed of themselves. That's me talking, by the way, not Daz. Don't start, trying to take him to court or anything. It's ridiculous. It's me talking. Take me to court if you want. Carl, over to you.
Yeah, it's beggars belief, really, isn't it? I'm a strong believer that it's due to the profile of the fighter. I think if this was with all due respect to Nicola, someone who's got a higher profile, the fight would have gone ahead. We've seen it in examples throughout the course of time. Dad, I'll be interested to know if they elaborated on the fact that it was due to a catch weight a check-in weight that was cancelled. Did they elaborate on what the rationale was behind that?
Apparently, I got told that they haven't had a check weigh in, so they refused to sanction it due to the safety of the fighter. That's what I think they said to me. I was in a bit of a daze, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it, listen, I've just got to basically agree with it.
So are we saying that every fighter that jumps in a British ring then, who steps in last minute, has had a check weight? Is that what we're saying?
Well, they haven't, have they? Simple.
We know that's wrong.
That's the answer.
We know that don't happen.
So I'd be interested to know, from a consistency purpose, where does it lie then? Because, you're almost stopping any late replacement from stepping in the ring with this process, aren't you?
Yeah, unless you're a big name.
Yes.
Well, let me just say this, lads. Let me just say this. It's not consistent. And like you've just said, big name, big promoter. If they're a UK fighter and they've got a big name, it's quite seemingly they'll let people step in at the last minute against them because they're not bothered about the opponent. They're only bothered about the name.
I'll be honest with you. The more I learn about the business side of boxing, the commercial side of boxing, the more I'm getting disillusioned with the sport.
Yeah.
You pull that curtain back on the business side of it, and it's a murky world.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, we're obviously very frustrated as a team.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated because I know it was a winnable fight. But we can't really imagine how Nick's feeling.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you that, Daz. How's Nick?
Well, listen, and then this is the caliber of the woman. She's turned up today and sparred 10 rounds with her gym mate, Amy, because she didn't want her to miss out on preparation for a Midlands area fight.
I always
That tells you everything you need to know about Nick.
I always like to take some positive wherever possible. The only positive I can probably see from this is at least she's being mentioned in these sort of fights.
Yeah, the fact that she's been approved by them 3 sanctioning bodies, and Nick's put a little post out on social media now about it, and tagged the WBC and all that, and like I said, she's thanked Dina Torsland for the opportunity. She thanked Lee Eaton as well for the opportunity. Now, I mean, so if WBC are going to approve her to fight their bantamweight champ or the WBO as well,
why not?
Listen, give her an opportunity against their flyweight. Do you know what I mean? Give her an opportunity against the WBO flyweight, the WBC flyweight. And
yeah, I agree, mate.
See, you'll see. Because listen, the girl will get in with anyone. And to be honest, mate, she's been in with bigger, stronger girls than Dina Torsland. That's why I know she can handle herself.
It's frustrating, isn't it? And I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs because you're closer than I am, but she's worked her absolute arse off, through some difficult times where she may be not on a GBM card. She's having to go out to Bradford to get a fight, not on TV. Still continues to dedicate herself to the sport as well as a job.
I'll tell you what, mate, and listen, I might get slated for this. Would Shannon Ryan or Maisie Rose Courtney have took that fight at 3 days' notice?
Well, only they can answer
Absolutely
that.
not.
No, they wouldn't. No. Do you know what I mean?
Darren, let me. Darren, let me bring you in and because I don't know whether you were even aware of this situation, but let me bring you in, mate, and get your thoughts on what's been said.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Carl said. I think, with no disrespect, I think it comes down to the profile of the fighter. And when you said before about Lucy Wildheart fighting Michaela Mayer over here, obviously that was a boxer show and a Sky Sports production, obviously on TV. So I do think it comes down to things like that. And once again, the British Board of Boxing Control are showing their incompetence. And I think they need to get their act together.
Just a correction, it was a Frank Warren show.
Wildheart and Michaela Mayer
fought Michaela Mayer.
No, it was a boxer show.
It was a Frank Warren show on the Joe Joyce Chang fight, the first one.
I know Lucy Wildheart was on that show, but that weren't against Michaela Mayer. Mayer and Wildheart was. I don't want to argue with that because I know he's the encyclopedia of boxing, but double check it.
Yeah, double check it.
We'll pick that up.
Play nicely, boys. Play nicely.
But yeah, but what I was saying is I do agree with Carl. I think with the not as such the profile, but I think with a TV show, with a television broadcast, I think things might have been a hell of a lot different.
It's very simple. It's very simple for me. It's very, very simple. The British Boxing Board of Control have no consistency.
Yeah.
If this was the case and they were cancelling every single fight where no one had check weight, absolutely fine. I wouldn't have a problem with this. The fact of the matter is, things like this happen. Opponents pull out through injury. They pull out through illness. They pull out because they lose the bottle. Whatever they pull out for, and fighters get brought in last minute, and fights have to get made. The British Boxing Board of Control are a disgrace. End of story. Hakan, you're still going to this fight, aren't you? And I believe Torsland's got a new opponent, and they've got even less notice, and they're from Spain, and it seems the Spanish board don't seem to have a problem, unlike the British board.
Yeah, I just checked. Lee Eaton went on that Mary Romero is now official and cleared by the Spanish Boxing Board of Control.
Oh, is it Mary Romero?
Mary Romero, who fought Ellis Scotney for the European title in 2022.
2020.
Yeah, listen, it's a fair replacement, I guess. But
it puts the British Boxing Board to shame. Is what it does.
Mate, it does, mate. To be fair, it's not great.
It's less than not great. It's disgraceful, and they need to hold the Reds in shame. Robert Smith, you need to come out and explain yourself, mate. That's what you need to do. Come out and explain yourself.
Yeah, and for me, that I got a connection with Nicola and Das. It would have been so much fun for me to see Nicola against Dina Torslund. Already has bought my tickets and travel to see.
I was going to surprise you, Akan. Andy told me yesterday that you were going to be there, so I was going to surprise you.
Yeah, that so I think it's very sad.
Yeah. I was actually going to surprise you when he told me you were going to be there. I was actually going to surprise you and take you back so you could wish Nick good luck.
Yeah, and on this show, Michaela Laurén of Sweden is making comeback after 5 years.
Right.
48 years old.
It's a genuine life-changing opportunity for the border took away. That's what, you know.
Exactly that, mate.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully, you know. Listen, I'm gonna put my 10p in a bit on social media. Hopefully, the WBC, WBO, or anyone, you know, do the right thing. Listen, if she's been approved by them to fight for their bantamweight title when she's a flyweight, there should be no issue with allowing the champion to do a voluntary against Nicola.
Okay, yeah, I agree, mate. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There should be no issue whatsoever. This now, even though it's not, it's a negative. This should now be a positive for her because she deserves it. And I can honestly say, listen, Shannon Ryan, Maisie Rose Courtney, Chloe Watson would not have taken this fight at 3 days' notice. Nick has jumped at the chance. Do you know what I mean? She has jumped at the chance. At the end of the day, listen, they can all, you know, we've been offered Maisie Rose Courtney for Nick, 4-week notice of her 8 rounds. Do you know what I mean? It's just, listen, I tell you what, let's stack it against, you know, the fighters and give our fighters advantages. Do you know what I mean?
Always the case, mate. Always the case.
Yeah. Nick's like this. You know, I mean, let's be right. Dina Torslund's, you know, I mean, she's 20-0 with 8 KOs. You know, she's got a fearsome record, to be fair.
But a stop with a rose has, won it. A stop with a rose, you know, that's a crying shame, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, the fact that you know she drop of an at Nick were like, yeah, let's do it. So you know, it's very frustrating. You know, but then she, like I said earlier, she's come into the gym and sparred 10 rounds.
That tells you everything you need to know about Nicola Oatwell. She's got to be absolutely gutted inside, Daz. Absolutely gutted, because like we've all said, I'm sure she was thinking it. This could be life changing.
Well, it would have been,
you know, and then she's had that disappointment today. She's had that disappointment today, and she's got I mean, she's probably still not got her head around it now, but she don't want to let a stablemate down because she knows that the stablemate's got Emma's. Amet, sorry, I'm getting all wound up here. Amet has got an area title fight coming up, so Nick don't want to let her down by not being there for sparring in 12 per hour. It just tells you everything you need to know about her. I'm very proud. I'm very proud to know Nick, and I'm very proud to be a friend because she's an absolute.
When she'd finished,
she's an absolute.
She'd finished sparring, and obviously I says, "Oh, it looks like we're going to boxing awards now on Sunday, doesn't it?"
Yeah.
And she went. She says, "Yeah." I went, "Well, at least you might win some at this weekend."
Yeah, true enough, mate. True enough. I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, you've got it. You know, I just said she laughed. She knows my sense of humor, anyway.
Yeah, so, well, it's obviously disappointing, mate, and she must be absolutely gutted, even if she's not showing it.
But you know, let's just hope that WBC, WBO, you know, reward her for a bit of something, you know, and say, look, if we're going to sanction you to fight for our bantamweight title, let's sanction you for a voluntary defence.
Daz, do
From one of our others.
If Joe's going to lobby the WBC to do that?
I'll be honest, mate. I've no idea what Joe's going to do.
I'll say it on camera. I'd expect him to. I'd be expecting him to write to WBC and WBO on the back of this and lobby them both, citing the reasons exactly what you've said.
Well, that's for a manager to do.
I agree.
It? But we'll see. We shall see.
Carl, I think that's a good position to move on to the next topic, mate. Obviously, very interesting this week, and it is exactly what we expected. Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor's launch presser for their fight on the got a bit naughty. Darren, I'll come to you first. What were your first reactions?
Yeah, I've loved it, to be honest. I feel like there is, for once, a bit of actual genuine needle. I mean, I'm not saying after the fight they won't shake hands or anything like that, because that always happens. But I think it's been very good for what we've seen so far. They're both riling each other up. And I think the fight, obviously, he's going to excel extremely well. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Taylor looks like he's been out on the sauce quite a lot from what I've seen of him. He don't look quite right to me, Josh Taylor. But I think this fight will actually be better than the first one, because I do expect them probably to go a bit more. I'm not saying Jack Catterall styles that, but I expect him probably to go a bit more toe to toe the way he's talking, saying he's going to stop him and that. But I would expect it to be more fireworks than the last fight. But I think the build-up's excellent so far.
Darren, what do you mean by you don't think he looks right?
I think he looks pissed from what I've seen. He just looks. He looks like he's been on the beer. He just doesn't look right to me. He looks like he's been out on the beer, or he's had a lot of sleepless nights. He just doesn't look right to me. And I've seen quite a lot of people on social media saying the same thing. Like something just doesn't look right. He looks very knackered, and he looks like he's been out on 3-day bender or something like that.
Gaz, I know you're a massive fan of Josh Taylor and what he's achieved in the sport. What's your reactions to what Darren's just said?
I can see where he's coming from. He does look a little bit subdued, I think the word is. But we're quite a way off a fight night, aren't we? So I won't read too much into that. I do think that Catterall's playing into his hands. I think Catterall
pretty much bang on 2 months, mate.
Yeah, I think Catterall's getting a bit out of character, saying things that don't seem to, be in his nature to say. And I think that's, listen, there's a lot of emotion on this. He's probably going to be one of them, Catterall saying he's going to knock him out and stop him and all this. And Catterall will probably be on back foot for 12 rounds. But I think Taylor's a bit too wise to fall for that, for antics. And, he knows what he's going to be facing as well, doesn't he? I just think Taylor's going to. I think Catterall's providing the fire that Taylor needs, if I'm honest. And I think he's just gonna do a job on him.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about Jack Catterall kind of not being himself. But like you've just said, mate, there's a lot of hatred here. This has built up, especially for Jack Catterall, because he was on the bad end of a bad decision. Not that was Josh Taylor's fault in any way. I didn't like the way Josh Taylor went about some of his comments in the days after the fight.
I'm a massive Josh Taylor fan myself. I think he's been.
Yeah.
I think he's, in my opinion, mate, probably the best fighter to come out of Scotland. There's arguments there, obviously, but I know it is. I know it is. There's a few that are right up there.
Mr.
Yeah, no, I know.
For me.
I know it's a big shout, but that's my personal opinion. I think he's achieved so much. But he let himself down a little bit that night, and the days after that, which is obviously left. No, I know he's not. I know he's not. You know, Jack Cattrall's been a bit naughty on social media. They both have for the last 2 years. You know, kind of getting insane stuff that you'd expect from keyboard warriors, to put it.
Mate,
you know, not.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I thought that Josh Taylor and his manager handled himself a lot better than Jack Cattrall and Sam Jones did, if I'm honest.
I agree.
I thought the Sam Jones stuff were embarrassing.
Sam Jones show wants it in Edinburgh. That's something right.
Yeah, I thought it were embarrassing. And I think Josh Taylor's manager were like, he pointed that out. He said, is it the Sam Jones show? You know?
Yeah, I thought it shocked him.
And Taylor just seemed to, you know, he seemed to be the one a bit more in control of his emotions, to be fair.
Sam Jones was insulting the crowd for crying out loud. What's all that about?
I mean, let's be honest. We can all insult people when we've got security in way, can't we? It's you know. Listen, I don't mind Sam though. I think he's a. You know, he seems like an all right guy, and he's done well for his fighters.
Yeah.
You know, and he's done really well for him, and he seems to give a shit about his fighters as well. So, you know, that's always a good thing. But I think sometimes it's not very wise to poke the bear. You know, this fight might have just been. I mean, personally, I find it interesting that Sam and Jack were more vocal in a disrespectful kind of way than what Jamie Moore was. You know, Jamie Moore was like, you know, well, let's just get on with it. Jack won the last fight, and obviously this is going to add what happened in the last fight is going to add to the interest for this fight. So I just think Jack would have been better served just to sell up. You know, I want to put right what I wasn't. You know what was wrong last time.
Jamie Moore, mate. Jamie Moore just is one of them characters. He just gets on with business. He don't get himself involved with stuff like that.
Yeah, and until the Taylor stuff, mate. Until the Taylor fight, the first one, Jack Cattrall was like that. You know, Jack Cattrall was saying stuff like, you know, I'm going to knock you out and all that. And like Josh Taylor says, you couldn't get rid of a way past it Jorge Linares. So, you know,
I mean, this has obviously been burning in, and not that I'm making excuses, but this has obviously been burning in Jack Cattrall, and it's very personal. He is out of character there's no shadow of a doubt, because you don't act like this against any other opponent. There's obviously hatred there, mate. And I think it runs both ways, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's just Jack Cattrall towards Josh. I think it's the same way, the opposite way back. And I just, it is what it is. It makes for an interesting fight. I would like to see him come out and have an absolute war, but I don't think that'll happen. No, Jack's saying he's going to come out. Jack's saying he's going to come out and knock Josh Taylor out. I don't think he'll do that. That's not his style.
No, he's going to. He doesn't punch hard enough either. He's a nice crisp puncher, but if Jack Cattrall comes out and stands toe to toe with Josh Taylor, he's going to lose the fight.
Yeah, and he knows that probably as well, mate. Carl, what was your take?
Yeah, I think Cattrall's been a bit of a pantomime villain. I think it was a little bit of nonsense. Some of the stuff he was coming out with. I'm going to retire you. I'm going to knock you out. Like Taylor said, you've never knocked anybody out. So Yeah, I wasn't very impressed with him in the Edinburgh press conference. I thought Sam Jones was almost babysitting him. It was embarrassing, to be honest with you. Listen, he lost the first fight, but people need to remember it wasn't Taylor. Taylor didn't score the fight. It was the judges.
Exactly that.
You know, I know they got beef, but I think Catchall's in trouble in this fight. I think, like Dad says, it is the candle's burning bright inside of Taylor, and I think he's a better fighter. I just think he's a better fighter, so I think he's gonna be fairly one-sided this fight. I think Taylor's gonna fight. Every fighter finds that one last performance, and I think this is the one. So I think Taylor's gonna beat Catchall. I just hope the pantomime shit stops, because I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but there's a line, isn't there, where it starts to get a bit ridiculous when he's grabbing him around the throat when he's squaring off and things like that. I think there's a line. I'm all for selling the fight, but this don't need selling either, does it? Let's be honest. The public interest is.
It's not going to stop, Carl. It's not going to stop. The hatred's just too deep.
I think
I disagree a little bit. I disagree a little bit with what Darren said. He thinks, he says he don't think he thinks they'll shake hands. I don't think they will. I think it's that bad. I think the hatred's that bad. No, I'm not convinced they will, mate. I really do think it's one of them where they detest each other that bad.
I think it's a little bit pantomime. I think they'll shake hands afterwards.
Hakan, you're obviously wanting to come to this fight over in the UK as you do. Absolute warrior when it comes to buying UK cards for UK tickets for UK cards. Give us your thoughts, mate, as a fight fan looking at it from afar, mate. What's your feelings?
The word's neutral.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but I will not call myself so much neutral. I will call myself more like you guys. I feel UK is my probably first home when it's boxing. So here. I believe that Josh Taylor could win again, but it will be a close fight. But I will support Jack Catterall, but I think Josh Taylor might win the fight again. Before this year, it was a couple of fights that I was looking forward to do the full fight week, big fights. And Wood Warrington was my number one priority, but that fight didn't materialize, the rematch. And the other Taylor in Ireland, I was looking forward, but if the trilogy will happen on May the 25th, that it's eyed for, the hotels in Dublin it's not affordable, 300 to 400 euros a night.
Wow.
So a full fight week for the trilogy and good seats, I will say, cost nearly 2,000 euros.
Wow.
So now Taylor Catterall.
Darren said he'll pay for you. Darren from Walsall, he said he'll pay for you. I can. No worries.
He's got more money than me.
Just send him the invoice. I can. Just send him the invoice.
But Taylor Catterall, when the fight was announced, for me it was there were a lot of talk for a long time, but when it was announced, this is the big fight I'm going to. But I hope I get tickets tomorrow. And I got a very good price on a hotel. I booked a hotel in central Leeds.
I don't know if you've realised, but we're not a travel show, by the way. We're not here to talk about it's not, you know.
But
interested in that, I can, but you know.
So I did count the other day that the VIP in Leeds, 5-night stay, it's cheaper than 4-night stay, no ticket in Dublin.
Wow.
Can I just point out there are other hotels available?
Yeah, you don't have to be 5-star. I can just, you know, we do have 3 and 4 in the UK, even lower.
I can.
Yeah,
Hakan, if you don't get tickets tomorrow, it's an absolute travesty that you don't get to go that fight. So we need to campaign for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darren.
We do. 1,000,000%
Definitely.
we do.
Yeah.
So I will take any tickets, but I hope to get a ringside VIP.
Okay, if you didn't get a ticket tomorrow, the show's going to write to Matchroom and try and get you a ticket. How about that? I think we should write to him.
Absolutely, mate. 100%.
Thank you, Carl and Andy. But there have been during these pre-sales, there have been very few tickets available at floor and ringside. So I will see tomorrow, but I'm sure that I will get a ticket, but maybe I had to go for a lower tire. So I'm not. I think I will get a ticket, but I hope to get ringside. I like to be at the big shows and have ringside. The cost of tickets is it's pretty much, but like I said, I got a very good deal on the hotel booking, so I could go all in on the ticket. If you compare with Dublin, when the hotel is so expensive, it will cost too much.
Darren, are you in Leeds for Taylor Catterall? Walsall, Darren?
No, I'm not going to that one. No.
I'll go then.
Too much going on. Too much of a busy life.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah. We'll let that one fly, Daz.
Cheers.
So Hakan literally just spoke about the possible trilogy between Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron. That kind of brings us swiftly on, quite seamlessly to our third topic, Carl. Chantel Cameron, or somebody broke the news that Chantel Cameron this week left Jamie Moore, and she's moving to Grant Smith and Steel City Gym. This is a massive story in my opinion, because I thought Chantel Cameron and Jamie Moore were absolutely solid. They've always looked solid. They're on the same wavelength. I don't know what happened here. I don't know if anybody else does. If you do, please let us know. I'm quite shocked, if I'm being honest. I'm quite surprised this is happening. There's obviously a reason which, you know, I'm sure they're keeping to themselves. Carl, what's your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, sometimes a fighter just goes stale, don't they? And they just want a fresh approach. I'm hearing Nicola Oatwell's very similar, to be honest, but I'll let you know. But no, all joking aside, I just think she wants a new approach. Grant Smith's very well thought of. So Jamie Moore's gone on record as saying that it's amicable. There's no story to be told. Chantel Cameron just wanted a fresh approach, and I think that's fair enough. I mean, Darren's more qualified than me to talk about it, but sometimes, you know, you just naturally come to the end of the timeline, I'd imagine.
Daz, Carl just mentioned there, you know, being a coach yourself, you've probably had similar situations with fighters in the past. What's your thoughts on it?
It's as simple as this. It happens.
Yeah.
It's down. It's down to the fighter. You know, it's about the fighter. It's about the fighter being happy and doing what's best for their careers. To be fair, so obviously Chantel thought that's best for her career, so she's done it. Listen, I've had it, Anna. Ebony's done it.
Yeah.
You know, Ebony's done it. So, you know, she's like obviously come to me and that. So, and there's also times when I've had fighters go to other trainers, you know, because they think it's more beneficial, and it is what it is. You know, they're getting in the ring at end of the day.
Yeah.
And they've got to get in there happy.
There hasn't always got to be any beef, has he, Daz? Or
no, of course there hasn't. No, definitely not. Only thing that sort of took me a little bit by surprise was the choice of trainer, and that's only for simple fact stylistically. But maybe Chantel wants to add a little bit more. You know, she wants to be a little bit more elusive. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, for whatever reason, you know, she's done it because she thinks it's the right thing to do. And you can only just respect that. And I'm sure Jamie and Chantel have parted ways amicably. So, a lot of people make a lot of big things about stuff like this, you know. Like you said, Carl, they think, oh, there's got to be some scandal. There's got to be some. Listen, sometimes you just have to make decisions, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, mate. I mean, I agree. There doesn't have to be scandal, and a fighter and a trainer can split amicably, which clearly this is what's happened here. It is a story for me though, because Chantel Cameron, in my opinion, is even though on record she lost to Katie Taylor last time out, I still think she's the best fighter in Britain, and one of the best fighters in the world. I think she's outstanding. Jamie Moore's an outstanding coach, and so is Grant Smith. So Grant Smith trains fighters slightly differently to Jamie Moore. So maybe it is that she's seen what's going on at Steel City, because there's a lot going on there at the minute.
Let's be honest, if you train fighters the same as Jamie Moore, there'd be no point in going, would there?
No,
exactly that. So what Daz has just said there about maybe she's wanting a slightly different approach, maybe that is the case.
She identified gaps in the game or improvements in the game that she wants to improve. She's identified Grant Smith as a person to improve them areas. Job done.
Darren, what's your reaction?
Well, I think she's done what she thinks she needs to do. I mean, I'm always a firm believer of, I don't know, say a golfer, for example, if they're on a bit of a losing run, if you change your golf clubs, you've done something to try and improve yourself. But there's a little bit of me that with Chantel Cameron, I agree with you, she's an excellent fighter, but there's a little bit of me that with the two Katie Taylor fights, she's sort of looking at the judges or the referee for losing the fight. I agree they were both very close, but I think there's a little bit of with now the change of trainer is because of like she's looking for a fresh start as regards like she thinks the two fights she's lost already was sort of like through not her own fault, and so I just think she's trying to freshen things up a little bit. So I would.
Sorry,
I was just going to say. I agree with you. Though Jamie Moore's an excellent trainer, and whether this new guy will be able to get anything different out of her is yet to be seen. But she's done what she thinks she needs to do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, she's obviously gone into that second fight with Katie Taylor. It's not gone her way. I disagree a little bit. I think the referee had a lot to do with that fight. A lot. And I've said it on previous shows, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But she obviously thinks that she needs something slightly different for the trilogy, and that's probably why she's moved.
Hakan, I know you're a massive Katie Taylor fan, and I know you like Chantal Cameron as well. What do you think Grant Smith and Steel City Gym will bring Chantal differently?
I'm not sure about Jamie, what Grant Smith will bring to the table that she thinks that she will have a change of a head coach. But I can understand that she wants to some change for the trilogy, and some interviews after the second fight has have been listened to Jamie Moore and Chantal, separate interviews. When I'm looking back, I think that they have, they have talked a bit different about the fight. But I don't know if Chantal isn't happy with Jamie Moore about that, but I can understand why she wants to have a change, and I, as you say, I like Katie Taylor a lot. I went to New York for the Serrano fight and have been at both fights in Dublin. So you know my stance, which fighter I support of the two. But
Yeah.
I think Chantal is an absolute amazing fighter, and like you said, could well be. She probably is UK's best female fighter.
Okay, Cole. I think let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic, pal. So, Eddie Hearn's done an interview, and in the interview, he's said that Gervonta Tank Davis has turned down £10 million to fight Conor Benn. I'm going to give my instant reaction, and I'll be absolutely staggered if Tank Davis has turned down £10 million to fight Conor Benn. Daz, what's your reaction to this story?
I just think it's a load of rubbish. I think if Tank's offered 10 million to fight Conor Benn, he'd see that as easy 10 million, and then he'd jump all over it. To be fair,
why is Eddie Hearn coming out with a statement like that? Then I mean, he's not stupid, Eddie Hearn. He's done that for a reason.
Yeah, he's probably just trying to drum stuff
build
up.
a profile in the US.
Yeah, just trying to build Conor Benn as well, innit? Trying to build, get Conor Benn, get his name on people's lips again for the right reasons, maybe. But listen, I mean, to be honest, mate, if Conor Benn fights Gervonta Davis, he's getting wiped out. He's not beating Gervonta Davis, and if he were offered 10 million, Gervonta Davis never in a million years is turning that down. So I don't believe that for a second.
Hakan, are you a fan of Conor Benn?
I was a fan of Conor Benn. I went to a few fights with him, but it's a while ago, and this Chris Eubank Jr. saga about that fight since it was cancelled in 2022, September 2022. I'm not a fan of Conor Benn now, but I did like him a lot as a fighter before this happened.
I think you and millions of other people may feel the same way.
Yeah.
Darren, do you echo what Hakan's just said, or have you got a different slant on it?
No, I pretty much agree with what Hakan said, and I agree with you that 10 million is BS. I can't see that at all. But what I don't get with Conor Benn, the way suddenly Eddie Hearn is trying to cash him out so quickly. Why are they not trying to build him up like they do with their fighters? He had a long time out the ring. Why suddenly has it got to be such a massive name? Like, are they trying to cash him out early? If they looked at it and thought, oh, he's not as good as we thought, let's get a big fight, big payday, big crowd. That's what I don't get about it. But first, they've got to get the situation with the UK cleared up. And they said, I think they said last week, it was only a few weeks away, but we still haven't had anything. But the other
the hearing was last week, and we've not heard anything again.
Well, there you go.
I'm sure, Darren. I'm sure they said it's only going to be a couple of weeks, about 6 months ago.
Exactly, and we're still, we're still at square one. But the other touted opponent I saw for him was Danny Garcia. I'd happily see that because I think Danny Garcia stops him as well, even though he's getting on in his career.
Yeah, but sorry, mate. Danny Garcia's shot.
Yeah.
So is Keith Thurman, by the way. And either of them make make a really difficult night's work for Conor Benn.
I had an interesting conversation with someone yesterday, and they were saying that they think that because obviously Jaron Ennis has been mentioned, they're going to try and build a Ben v Ennis into a sort of Ben v McClellan.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because when McClellan was a dynamite puncher, considered that he was going to go through Ben, and he reckons that Matchroom were going to try and build that sort of dynamic and get it. That sort of
the problem with that, Daz, is there's a massive difference between Nigel Benn and Conor Benn.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's a big difference between Nigel and Conor, and also, Jaron Ennis is best welterweight in world for me. So he would literally I think he'd just demolish him, to be fair. But that brings to the point what Darren's just said. Does it now seem like they're trying to cash him out?
I'd be interested to know, Daz, how many fights are left on that Matchroom deal?
Well, to be fair, mate, and listen, this is facts. It's not just hearsay. Conor Benn, since all this has come out about this doping, has not looked like knocking anybody out.
No,
exactly.
And listen, you can't shy away from that. Yeah. He's hitting people. He's hit people flush on the chin before this doping come out. Sparked Algieri, did Van Eden, who were durable, tough fighters.
Yeah, they've all got granite chins suddenly.
I've always said, and Andy will concur, I've always said he would never win a world title. I've said that since he burst on the scene. And they've got a problem, Matchroom, haven't they? Because Conor Benn thinks he's got a lot of commercial value when when you're going over to the States and fighting in a ballroom in the middle of the day. How's that building your profile in the US?
He had life and death with I think is it Cedric Paynaud?
Paynaud, yeah.
He had life and death with him, right? And then all of a sudden, his body composition changes. He's able to just literally walk through, world class fighters, but yeah, they're not as good as they were, but they were still, you know. And he's leaving Algeria asleep on floor, and it's like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
you know. And then now he's hitting people on chin who aren't in their class, and they're just laughing at him. They're just coming through him. So you know, if it looks like if it looks like a chicken and it clucks, it is a chicken, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a problem there, Matchroom, haven't they, Daz? They've got a problem because, like I've said, he thinks he should command X amount each time he fights, and Matchroom is struggling to find a dance partner.
Yeah.
And the market, because he can't, at the minute, his biggest market is the UK, where I would argue a lot of the fight fans have fell out of love with Conor Benn. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They've got a problem. Why is he not clearing his name in the UK? Because that's where his market is, not in the US. So Eddie Hearn's got a problem on his hands.
Mate, I don't think he beats any decent fighter now. I really don't, because it's been shown that obviously this doping thing, is. I can't say it enough. The proof's in pudding. He's not even looking like budging anybody.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's
before Conor Benn starts talking about the likes of Tank Davis and Jaron Ennis, he needs to be talking about the best welterweight fighters in the UK, and he's going nowhere near them.
No.
It's like he's bypassed the whole of the British scene and gone for European fighters and fighters past the best. I mean, let's have it right. Let's say it how it is. I was a fan of Conor Benn. I like his style. I like his aggression. I loved his old man, and that's probably why I'm a fan of his, because his old man. And I've said it on this show on numerous occasions, that his old man is one of my favourite British fighters of all time.
Yeah.
Because of how exciting he was. You never knew whether he was going to win or lose.
Value for money.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You never knew whether he was going to win or lose. And I saw that growing in Conor a little bit because of his style, and I like that. I like that style, but he's not filled himself with glory, mate. And neither have Matchroom, and he's left himself, and Matchroom have left themselves in a very, very difficult position, like Carl's just said. I don't know what they do with him. If he goes to America, he's only going to carry on fighting at 2:00 in the afternoon, because they're insistent on making it 10 p.m., 11 p.m. in the UK, so that fight fans get to see him at prime time.
I mean, let's be fair as well. Let's be fair. Conor's not done himself no favours either with his public relations.
No.
Some of the stuff he's come out with, it's like, I mean,
definitely.
has he got no one in his team that can say, Conor, shut up? Just, it's best not to say anything.
Yeah.
But,
strange one for me, mate. I just don't know. I really don't know what they do with him. And Darren might be right. Eddie Hearn might have just lost patience and gone, right, let's get him in against one of the massive boys. He either swims or he sinks.
Yeah, I think a sad thing is, mate, I think he sinks, and I think a lot of British fans want him to sink as well.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a bit Marmite over here now, isn't there? Some people are still with him, but some people have been turned off.
Whereas Addy, this rubbish not come out, people would have, me for one, would have been cheering for him. Would have wanted him to do well, but he's always got that cloud, hasn't he? And it's like, I mean, I'll be honest. If he, I used to love watching his dad, but if he goes in against Ennis, I want Ennis to send him away from boxing, if I'm honest. Because I can't be doing with people like that in boxing. The sport's too dangerous as it is. So, that's just my thoughts on it. And listen, when it all come out, there were no one as disappointed as me, because I was a big fan of Conor.
Yeah.
I like watching him. I admired his art in that Cedric Pernod fight as well. he had a gut check and he passed it. So he's just not done himself no favours at all.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, moving on, Carl. Obviously, there's been news. Tim Tszyu seems to be in the news all the time these days. The public seem to want him fighting the big names. Keith Thurman's the man, and it seems the public think Keith Thurman does him. Carl, I know you're a massive fan of Tim Tszyu. Let's get your opinion first.
Tim Tszyu is a bum.
Yeah.
And you know I think he's a bum. I've watched him fight in Australia. I'm underwhelmed. Living off his old man's name. Granted, he's got a big following in both Australia, I'd say Oceania, to be honest, and in Russia. But I don't see why people are getting excited over this guy. Liam Smith would have smashed this guy to bits if he ever fought him. Smashed him to bits. So, if Thurman's got anything left, he'll school this guy. He'll school him. He's absolutely bang average. I don't mind going on record and saying it. So there you go. If Thurman's 50% of what he used to be, he'll finish this guy there. There you go.
Just all you got to do, Carl, is wind him up and let him go, ain't you? Jesus. Just playing devil's advocate a second, Carl. Do you not see any improvement since the early days when he was calling out big names?
No. I think he's absolutely shite.
Oh. Darren, Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman. Firstly, do you think it's a good fight? Are you interested in it?
It's all right. I'm probably interested to see what Thurman's got left, like Carl says. I mean, obviously, he's been active now for a couple of years, is it, or whatever. Yeah, I'm interested basically to see what Keith Thurman's got left. I don't know if I'd be as harsh as what Carl's been, but I can see where he's coming from with it, because I'm not so sure he's that great. And I do agree that I think Thurman would probably have to have a bit more left than 50%. But I think if Thurman has still got it, I definitely think he beats Tszyu. I was going to say 70, 75, something like that. But, I'd say Thurman's got 70%, 75% left. I think he beats him, yeah. But whether it'll be a great fight, don't know.
Well, the GOAT of female boxing, Claressa Shields, she keeps calling out Keith Thurman, so she obviously thinks he's shot. I mean, I don't know what that's all about, but there you go. Hakan, if Tim Tszyu is to fight the top end of the UK in and around that division, how do you think he fares?
I think Tim Tszyu will fare very well against the top ones in the UK. That's my statement.
Okay, Carl, I saw your head drop as soon as you said that. What's your reaction to what Hakan's just said?
Well, you know what my thoughts are, so stop trying to provoke me. I just think there's nothing to write home about Tszyu. So, I mean, I'd be interested to know who Hakan thinks he beats in the UK then.
Hakan?
I have Tim Tszyu for me. I have there are some issues for me that some of the shows hasn't been. I have seen some few shows after the shows that Tim Tszyu has been a lot on Sky. I think in the UK, and I can't see this guy, so he hasn't been on the right platform. But I've seen most of the Tim Tszyu fights, not live, but on YouTube, mostly them. But I like his style. That's a fighter I like.
Daz, I don't know about you, mate. I think Keith Thurman is absolutely shot to bits, and they pick it. Tim Tszew's picked him, and they've made this fight's been made, and he's accepted it. However you want to put it, for a reason. It's a big name. He's not getting the best of Keith Thurman. Absolutely no chance. And this just puts his name up there in America. I'll ask you the same question that Carl's just asked Hakan. If he's fighting the top end of the UK in and around that weight division, is this a super welter? This fight?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right. So either super welter or welterweight. Then Daz. Does he beat the best British fighters?
Well, I just want to say I like Tim Tszyu, and I love all Australian fighters. I love everything about Australia. Australia is fantastic. And Tim Tszew's, I think, it's going to go down in history as one of the best of all time.
Oh, I'm going to move.
Daz, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're not sat there singing Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Listen, mate, that could certainly come. Next week, I'll have Atwick Hawks on at law.
He's got fucking neighbours on in the background.
And I'll be saying, "G'day, mate." No, listen, I think Tim's a decent fighter. I obviously used to rate Keith Thurman as well. Keith Thurman's not what he was, obviously. I see, I don't mind Tim Tszyu, to be fair. I do. He's got a big shadow to fill, though, hasn't he? He's got some big boots to fill. But, I think he's decent. I do, honestly. And as far as our light middles, I could see him beating them all.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, who we got, really? I mean...
Josh Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, you got Josh Kelly, you got Liam Smith.
James Metcalf.
Who?
James Metcalf.
JJ Metcalf.
Yeah, JJ. Oh, yeah. Oh, you calling him by his Sunday name?
Yeah.
JJ
I'm Eggington.
Eggington, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I think he could beat all of them, if I'm honest. I'm not saying he would, but I think he could. But let's hope them fights happen.
Come on, Cole, you've got to react to that.
No, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, listen, I don't think he's as bad a fighter as what Cole thinks he is. Probably with the hype surrounding him due to his dad, the expectations are really high.
He hasn't beaten nobody yet, though, Dad, has he? He's beaten nobody.
Definitely not, mate. Definitely not. I totally agree with you, 100%. And I think the expectation due to his dad, probably makes us have a bit more high hopes of him. Look at Campbell Hatton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were you expect massive things. Listen, Conor Benn even, you expect massive things. Eubank Jr. So I think judging them on the fathers is which is a natural thing to do. It's what you do. So I think give him a little bit of benefit of doubt. Just let him thing him, and we'll see. We'll see where he goes.
Right. Okay, Cole. Next topic.
Yeah. So while we're talking about bums, common theme tonight.
So obviously, you can see the headline I've put on there, and let's have it right. Jared Anderson is the next US heavyweight hope. Everyone's pinning his hopes on him. He's still a young man though, Carl. He's 24 now. He hasn't been tested yet, but where's the rush? Heavyweights don't even come into the prime till they're like 28, 29, do they?
So, I don't see the rush. I don't see why they've got to put too much pressure on him. I do have to say, though, when he was in with
Charles Martin,
the Prince of Boxing, when he was in with Charles Martin, he looked absolutely dreadful. Now, whether he's one of these fighters that...
There's a few red flags there, weren't there, against a legend that is Charles Martin.
Yeah, he was poor. He was very poor against Charles Martin. Now, whether he's going to be one of these fighters, Cole, because it happens where a fighter sinks to the level of the opponent he's in with, we're yet to see. I'm hoping that is the case because we need a good American heavyweight. We need a good American heavyweight that is going to challenge the best of the UK. And on that note, I'll come to you, Cole, because of how much you love Jared Anderson. You could tell us which UK fighters you'd like to see him in with.
I'd like to see him in with Matty Harris. That's what I'd like to see him in with. Do you
not think it's a bit early for Matty Harris?
No, I think under Peter Fiore he's going to come on leaps and bounds. It won't happen yet, don't get me wrong, but that would be a perfect crossroads fight. We have things like Gill versus Groves very early on in their career, so why can't we have something like this? A loss doesn't define a fighter. I'll tell you what, they'll learn a lot more from that fight than they would by jumping in with 100 bums, like it looks like Anderson's going to do. So, yeah, I'd like to see him fight Matty Harris.
I'd like to see him in with winner of Wardley and Clark, personally.
That's a great shot.
Matty Harris is too early. That's definitely too early then, Daz.
No, I think it's...
I meant too early for Matty Harris, Cole, not for Jared Anderson.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in with winner of Wardley and Clark, mate.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
That fight won't happen because I'm telling you, he's going to have a lot of fights over in the States against taxi drivers and things like that before he even steps in the ring with anyone half decent.
What about what are you thinking on this, Darren?
I liked what I saw up until probably the Charles Martin fight, and I mean Charles Martin did catch him a few times, and I thought his legs went a few times as well. Tyson Fury's obviously got very high hopes of him as well. He's bigged him up for a few years now, saying he's going to be the next big thing. The way I look at like the Charles Martin fight is though, like Tyson Fury early on in his career was crap against John McDermott, so it is very early on still. So you can have a bad performance, and let's be honest, Charles Martin isn't no world beater, but he's not absolutely horrendous.
I think John.
Mate, he is horrendous. He's the worst. Charles Martin is the worst heavyweight champion of all time.
I agree with that part, but what I'm saying is, as regards a heavyweight opponent, I don't think he's like horrendous, but Jared Anderson should have dealt with him comfortably.
I was to say, Charles Martin would not win a title in Bieber.
I tell you what, Charles Martin isn't capable of winning an English title for certain.
Oh, I'd say he would.
Nah, mate, not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance.
I was going to say, I'm not saying.
I mean, who's English champion at the minute? Solomon Dackers.
Yeah.
Does he beat Solomon Dackers?
Close fight.
Not even close. Solomon Dackers lays him out cold.
Yeah, but Dackers is a good fight for me. A good fighter for me.
You lay him out cold because he hasn't got no pop. You don't lay anyone out cold. You'd beat him over 12, but you wouldn't lay him out.
Well, I was going to say, if Dackers wins, it'd be on points. But, you know, he'd be the best by far that Dackers has ever fought as well. So, who knows?
Charles Martin's fought no one. He's fought no one. He was handed the title. He was handed the title, and then he got paid an absolute boatload of money just to hand it over to Joshua.
I actually thought he took a dive in that fight. I thought he could have got it easy.
My point exactly, mate. My point exactly. He was under the boatload of money, and the belt over.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Maybe he could have done better than what he showed. He just took the dive and had the easy way out. But he had a good fight with Adam County. He had a good fight with Adam Kownacki, who obviously now he's turned out crap, but that was a really good fight. He done okay for 6 rounds, was it, against Luis Ortiz? I'm not saying he's good, but what I'm saying is he's not.
It was about
horrendous.
734 when they fought.
I'll tell you what though, it's absolutely criminal that someone like Charles Martin has been a world heavyweight champion, and
I agree. Yeah.
and someone with the talent of Luis Ortiz hasn't.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know
Didn't
what I
Charles
mean?
Martin drop Luis Ortiz?
Yes.
I think he dropped him. Yeah, Charles Martin dropped Luis
And
Ortiz.
he was ahead on the scorecard too.
Was he?
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, lads. This isn't a serious
Thanks,
conversation, surely.
Nice one.
This is not a serious conversation. We're not entering into this. I'm sorry. I'm vetoing the conversation.
We'll go back to Jared Anderson then. No, I like what I see. And I do think he has got a lot of potential, but there's big improvements to have. And like Cole said, he probably will go through 6-7 fights fighting obviously beatable opponents, whereas I'd probably like to see him step on now from like the Charles Martins and stuff. But whether that, I mean, I think he fought Rudenko, was it last? After Charles Martin, Andre Rudenko. You know, that's all right, but you need to be stepping on a little bit more now. But I'm interested to see when he takes a shot off more of a heavy hitter than Charles Martin, because the signs for me when Charles Martin caught him wasn't great. That's the sticking point for me with him.
Yeah.
He reminded me of Audley Harrison. There you go.
I don't think he's as good as Audley.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of improving to do. The problem that you've got is that America have no world class heavyweights. I mean, Deontay Wilder obviously had that power, and that was it. And they held on to him for as long as they could, and put him again in against as many bums as possible, just so he kept that title. And then now that's gone, there's nobody. This kid's the next hope, and America are absolutely craving it. So they're making him out, and they're gonna look after him for as long as they possibly can before they put him in with anyone half decent.
Who is he, top rank?
Yeah,
Not sure actually.
Yeah.
Is it top
I
rank?
think it is. Yeah.
So Bob will be plotting his career, won't he? Slowly.
Like I said, I mean, the thing is, Carl, there's no rush with him because of how young he is. They're going to take the time. He's got potentially. He's got 10, 15 years as an heavyweight.
But when you look at where the Joseph Parkers was at Jared Anderson's age, there's a massive difference. Like Joseph Parker was he world champion? Was he 24 or something like that? Like the difference is huge to where. But it isn't a rush. But I don't think that they want to stick around like 8-9 fights just fighting completely beatable fighters all the time. He's going to need a test at some point. But they probably weren't expecting the Charles Martin fight to be a test, but it was.
No, they weren't.
I would like to see him in a couple of fights against Efe Ayagba.
Yeah. Or what about Otto Wallin? A couple of defeats.
If I see it in my own eyes, and that is in Otto Wallin's eyes, that is too tough fight.
Well,
Anderson beat Wallin.
Okay, you could jump in with him next, and it'll be a step up compared to
for Otto Wallin is to come back after the Joshua fight. I know that they will not take a Jared Anderson fight next. And he will have a tune-up fight, I believe.
I was just going to say as well. I saw something the other day. Efe Ajagba's meant to be fighting Luis Ortiz next. Okay. That's meant to be the next fight.
What about Anderson v what's his name? The Cuban who fights out of America, Frank
Sanchez.
Frank Sanchez.
Frank Sanchez.
Yeah. Yeah, what about
That's a
them
great
two?
shout, Daz.
Nobody wants Sanchez, do they? It's a problem, isn't it?
What about them two v each other? See,
I tell you what though, Carl. Frank Sanchez didn't look great last time out either.
That to be a matchmaker, me.
Do you know what though? With Frank Sanchez, for me, he's the type of guy. He doesn't waste any shots. He'll literally wait 5 rounds to land a jab if he's got to. He doesn't waste any shots. He just he won't. Yeah, he is. His volume of punches, it's like barely any some rounds. But then if he can land one, he'll wait 2 minutes of the round to do it. He's just
Okay. Yeah.
Not exciting to watch, but good.
Right, let's move on to the final topic of tonight then. Thank God, some decent fighters to talk about.
So Jordan Gill, Zelfa Barrett, fight presser. This fight's obviously made for April the 13th. And what night and day, this presser compared to Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall was night and day. It was like compared to that, it was like a Sunday prayer meeting, wasn't it? And that's no disrespect to Jordan or Barrett, because these two are absolutely outstanding fighters.
There is also other religions available.
Say that again?
There is also other religions available.
And there's also 2 T's in Barrett for whoever hasn't spotted that.
Apologies.
I know you didn't see if anyone noticed, Andy, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I just didn't put 2 T's on. Yeah, I mean, what a fight. Cole, I'll come to you first. We had the opportunity to have 5 minutes chat with Jordan Gill at the latest GBM show. And he was talking about this fight. He's really excited about it. He thinks it's a great fight himself. Jordan Gill's turning nobody down. No matter who you put in front of him, he'll fight anyone. Zelfa Barrett is a proper skilled fighter as well.
Yeah, well,
take it away, mate.
It's took both these fighters a while to get to the top, well, near the top of the mountain, hasn't it? You know, they both come through life and death fights. They both earned the stripes in boxing and come up the hard way. So fair play to them both. Jordan Gill, like Andy says, we had a conversation with him in Sheffield. Firstly, what a very nice kid, very humble kid. You know, I only shouted over to him. I can't remember what I shouted now. And he insisted on coming over, sitting down, talking to us for, like Andy said, 5-10 minutes. Very respectful of his opponent. But I think he's got the taste for it now. He's got the taste for these big nights. He's got balls beyond belief. So, very good fight. Difficult one to call. Both, like I say, respectful kids. I think it's going to be an absolute war because both fighters come toe to toe when they get in the middle of the ring. Something told me Jordan Gill might just edge this. I don't know whether that's because I like the kid, but I think he's probably just a little bit of a better boxer. Not necessarily a better fighter, but I think he's a better boxer. I think he'll have the cleaner work, and I think he'll take it points. I think he'll win on points. I think this is going the full distance.
Daz, I know that you've been a fan of Zelfa's over the years.
Yeah, I think Barrett is going to box on back foot. Personally, I think he's going to be on back foot. I don't think he's going to engage with Gill at all. He's going to try not to anyway. However, I do think Jordan Gill's riding high at the minute, and it is a tricky fight. But I think Jordan Gill could edge this. I think Jordan Gill could win this. I'd make him a slight favourite, to be fair. I think he'll. No, go on, mate. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think we've got a real Jordan Gill 2.0 here. You know, he's gone through, as he said publicly at the end of that last fight, he's gone through hell, and he's come out the other side of it. He's moved up weight, and it clearly suits him, mate. He's a very content, happy fighter.
Is it an eliminator, this?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
For IBF?
I'm not sure what belt it's for, but it is eliminator, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see, winner in with Joe Cordina. I
mean, Zelfa Barrett's probably a little bit lucky to not get a shot already at Joe Cordina.
Yeah, I think if you ask me which fighter I'd prefer to see v Cordina, I think I'd prefer to see Gill at this moment in time v Cordina. But,
what a fight that is! Jeez.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer to see Gill v Cordina because I think Barrett would obviously be on. Listen, no disrespect to Zelfa, but I think he'd be on back foot. But I think Gill v Cordina would be an absolute classic. I think.
I mean, I'll be straight, lads. I think the Zelfa Barrett that fought the first half of the fight against Rakhimov. I thought he was outstanding. Rakhimov, sorry. I thought he was outstanding. Outstanding. He just couldn't keep it up for 12 rounds. It's a difficult style, isn't it? It's a style that wears you out. You've got to be very, very fit to fight that way.
Yeah, against the pressure fighter, you can be made to work twice as hard.
Yeah. And obviously, that you've got to fight that way against that type of fighter to keep him off sometimes. Zelfa he fought brilliant in that first half of that fight, but like I say, he just couldn't keep him off. Not for 12 rounds. It's a very interesting clash of styles for me. Because I agree with you, Daz. Zelfa Barrett fights on the back foot, and it's going to be a case of Jordan Gill again. He's gonna have to hunt him down. He's gonna have to stop him in his tracks, catch him, cut the ring off, and get the shots off, and hope that Zelfa then stands and trades, because that's Jordan's way of fighting. And I mean, Lee Wood said our bigger puncher Jordan Gill actually is. His record don't show it really, but I think it's a case like Lee Wood. He was killing himself to get down to feather. And now he doesn't have to do that. It's going to be interesting to see how these next few fights pan out for him. Hakan, can you split these two? Can you pick a winner?
I was so impressed with Jordan Gill in Belfast, even though Michael Conlon was very disappointing, but to come back after his he had some when he talked after the fight. So for me, I agree with Zelfa Barrett. Rakhimov, he was absolutely amazing in the first half of that fight, but Zelfa Barrett's last fight in Dublin, I wasn't that impressed. He won easily, but I was expecting much more, if I'm honest, on the Dublin card, and so if I go of their latest fights, Jordan Gill and Zelfa Barrett, I will go for a stoppage, Jordan Gill, when they meet. But a late stoppage, not the early stoppage.
Interesting, isn't it? Well, Carl, it's been a really entertaining show again. We're coming up to the hour and a half mark. I think it might be the right time to bring the show to a close.
Okay.
You want to take us out?
Yeah, so thank you, Daz, for joining. Thank you for all the headlines, Daz. Now you're A-lister. Really time. I'll call you Walsall, Daz. Cheers for joining. Thanks for doing your bit for West Midlands Tourist Information Guide. Hakan, pleasure joining, fella. Thank you for joining from Scandinavia. Hopefully you get your tickets tomorrow. If you don't get your tickets, let me know. And yeah, we'll get the spell check out next time. Don't worry about that. This has been Last Bell Boxing, sponsored by LW Liftings and SC Travel. Same time next week, 7 p.m. If you watch on replay, put your comments in the comments box below and we'll reply. We'll see you next week.